Hey everyone, I will be covering the Nightmare Cup that I just went through today. As you can see, I got second place after Scarlord, who went undefeated throughout the tournament. Big props to him. He 2-0'd me in this cup as well too, so you'll be able to see that. Before I get started, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my justification for my team. Feel free to skip ahead based off of the timestamps as well if you want to just look more into specific battles. So I bought Poliwrath, Umbreon, Xatu, Toxicroak, Drapion, and Claydol. Poliwrath I found was a really great secondary fighting type after having Toxicroak, and the main reason behind this is having Ice Punch really allows it to deal with a lot of its counters such as Xatu, Claydol, so that was often my safe switch in these matches. Umbreon I preferred over Alolan Raticate, which is the top pick. The reason why I went with Umbreon is because it just tends to be a little more bulky against the fighting types. It does lose the head-to-head with Alolan Raticate, so that's something I had to watch out for, but having used Alolan Raticate in a previous tournament for Nightmare Cup, I just didn't really like how it played out. And then I brought Xatu. Xatu is pretty glassy, but it does cover a lot of the meta, and so it's kind of a need be on most Nightmare Cup teams in my opinion. And then you could potentially get a stat boost as well from Ominous Wind. Toxicroak, pretty staple pick. I can't imagine any team without Toxicroak just because it covers all the dark poisons as well as having counter, which takes out a lot of the regular dark types as well. Drapion I really like too just because it could get to Aqua Tails really quickly. It's also a great counter to Blaziken, so that's why I brought it as my secondary dark type. Really enjoyed using Claydol before it got Earth Power, but after adding Earth Power, it became a necessity on my team just because it can handle a lot of its counters if they're dark poison types like Drapion or Alolan Muk. I also decided to run extra sensory on it because it tends to charge moves faster. Yeah, it doesn't take out Toxicroak and some of the fighting types as quickly, but usually, besides against like Poliwrath, usually that's not a big deal running the extra sensory. And this gives me a slight edge in any head-to-head matchups with Claydols that have confusion over extra sensory, which you'll see in a later match. Going into the first match, I will be going against Dargoflax. I decided to bring in Umbreon, Toxicroak, and Poliwrath. And I really like this combination of two fighting types with Umbreon. And so leading with Umbreon ensures that if I have a bad matchup against a fighting type, I can swap it out and save it for later for any of Toxicroak and Poliwrath's counters. So I decided to take the crunch right there because I know it won't do too much damage. That way it'll be fighting on neutral damage, and that way I won't get hit by anything when Toxicroak comes out. So it brings out Lunatone, as I guess it has confusion too. So it takes out Toxicroak pretty quickly, and he decides to shield that. And so I am going back in with Umbreon, and having already charged a Foul Play too, I knew that that can be definitely useful. And right here, at the time I didn't know it had Moonblast, but my guess is that he was charging for a Moonblast on that Lunatone, which could have done a lot of damage to my Umbreon if he got it off. And then he follows up with Blaziken. And right here, I'm just going to switch to Poliwrath. Poliwrath resists pretty much all of Blaziken's, or most of the Blaziken's move, I guess, if he's running Blast Burn or Blaze Kick. If he's running Brave Bird, that could be a different issue. But he decided to go for the Blast Burn. I'm just going to shield anyway just to be safe. And I do like Poliwrath when it builds up a lot of energy. It just starts hitting really, really hard with those power punches. I'm going to shield this right here as well, just to be safe, and then go straight for the power punch on the Skuntank. So that was the first match. And for the most part, it went pretty well just because I had the Umbreon lead matchup against Skuntank, because it will take out Skuntank in the head-to-head. So right here, not the best situation just because Claydol is weak to the dark moves on Skuntank, but he decides to switch out to Shiftry. This is where I make a big mistake, and I know Shiftry beats Claydol, but it also beats Poliwrath. And I really should just not have brought both Claydol and Poliwrath in the same lineup. Both being really weak to Shiftry was just not a good idea. And so I kind of realized this mistake once this happened, because I was thinking like, okay, a fighting type's going to take out Shiftry, and I was like, I forgot the Razor Leaf is going to do a ton of damage. And so here I'm in a bad situation with Umbreon against Shiftry. I'm not entirely sure who wins this matchup, but I think Umbreon does, but it's just not a great use of my Umbreon right here, and I know that he still has that Skuntank too, and I pretty much lost my fighting type, so Claydol's not going to be great use for that. So I'm pretty much trying to farm as much energy as possible. But yeah, so we're going against his Lunatone right here, and even though it's a decent matchup for me, it just my Umbreon's just too low on health. I also accidentally used Last Resort, thinking that it was possibly going to be a Skuntank, and I was just kind of worried that Skuntank was going to get a charge move off of me. But either way, I would not have won that one way or another. And right here, I'm just going to try to farm up some energy on this Lunatone, just because I know that I need to save this Earth Power. But Dargo actually had a crunch saved up, and before I get off the Earth Power, so great plays by him. A terrible mistake by me to run both Claydol and Toxicroak. So in the first match, I just go back to the Umbreon, Poliwrath, and Toxicroak lineup, and he opens with Skuntank again. So here I'm just going to do the same thing where I absorb a charge attack. I could stay in this match to potentially try to win this situation, but I think I accidentally clicked on Foul Play. I didn't really mean to. Luckily, I was able to burn a shield with that. And then going in with Poliwrath, I'm able to get to a Power Punch before he could do anything to switch it. Now he's switching to Raichu, Alolan Raichu. So he has no shields, and I know that Poliwrath's Ice Punch actually does a decent amount of damage to Alolan Raichu. So here, I'm just going to protect my Poliwrath because I know that I can get to another Ice Punch in time, so I might as well. And then this way, my Poliwrath will still be alive for his Skuntank or whatever else he's bringing. So he has Shift Tree, and that's going to take it out really quickly. But this time I have Toxicroak to deal with the Shift Tree, and I don't have to rely on the Umbreon. I'm going to shield this right here just so that I have enough life, and then I probably would have survived that regardless, but I just wanted to be safe. And then I have a positive matchup with Toxicroak to Skuntank. So he has some energy charge up too, so he actually does end up taking my Toxicroak out, but right here, half health Umbreon can definitely handle Skuntank. So great match with Dargo, definitely threw me off with that Shift Tree. A lot of bad mistakes on my end too, but he played that one well, especially game 2. So right here, I'm going against Ruboy, and Ruboy has a very interesting lineup with Heracross especially, and as well as Murkrow. I have not gone against a Heracross while practicing, so I was trying to figure out if it had counter or not, or if it was running something else like Struggle Bug, and his, I believe, actually had Struggle Bug instead of counter. So right here, I'm using Xatu against Hypno, and I know that Xatu can get to the Ominous Winds faster than Hypno can get to the Shadow Balls, but I kind of want to save my Xatu, because if you look at Ruboy's lineup, he does have a decent amount of things that are weak to Xatu, so I just want to hold on to that. And then right here, the Aqua Tails, one, they come out just really quick from Drapion, but also, you know, they do a lot of damage against the Blaziken. So against no shield Blaziken, that's tough to use. And then here, I'm going to go for the Crunch. Again, Drapion just charges energy super quickly, and I'm able to get to an Aqua Tail as well too. So I think I had charge move priority on this one because Ruboy was saying that he had Earth Power ready as well. But right here, Drapion just carved out a huge lead for me, and I'm just going to go in with Xatu just because I know that he's probably going to hit me with a Shadow Ball. I was kind of nervous to go in with... Well, actually, I had a shield, so it would have been fine. I think I was really just not showing my Umbreon because I didn't want him to know what was my third thing, so that, the Umbreon might be able to catch him by surprise. And I knew that Xatu could handle the job as well. So right here, Xatu against Spiritomb, not a good situation. So I just charge up a little bit of energy, and I go straight for the Drapion. And then he brings out Heracross. And so I have no idea what this Heracross has as all the moves, just because I haven't played against a lot of Heracross in general, but this one clearly has Struggle Bug, and I'm just going to go for neutral damage and just use Aqua Tail. And I choose to shield this just because I think that can get off another Aqua Tail before he get off another Mega Horn or just any other charge move. So I go for the Aqua Tail right here, and he decides to shield it too. And I was trying to get to another Aqua Tail, but I just couldn't get to it in time. And here, so he decided to go in Spiritomb. I just wait out the clock a little bit just to see what he was putting in, and he goes in with Spiritomb. And then I just realized that Umbreon's actually pretty decent against Murkrow as well, so I just go for that. And then here, I actually decide to switch in the Xatu. And I know this is not a favorable matchup for me, but essentially I want to just drain that energy from the Xatu so that my Umbreon can have enough health to deal with the Spiritomb. Even though it's a good matchup against Spiritomb, Umbreon going against 1v2 against Spiritomb and Murkrow would not be ideal, or the safer move, I guess. And so here I'm going to shield the Shadow Ball and just use Foul Play on the Spiritomb. And he shields that right there, and then I get to another Foul Play. And that's pretty much the game. So very interesting matchup with the Heracross. And now we're going into round 3. So unfortunately, this is actually the third match. Just went to game 3. And unfortunately, I only have the footage for the third match because something I realized, at least on the iPhone, or at least on my iPhone, whenever I back out of the Pokemon screen and go to Safari or something, it stops my recording. And so something important for anyone else that's maybe screen recording to note, I backed out after game 2 to double check its lineup again, and that's when I lost the first 2 game recordings. So right here, we're going in and Poliwrath versus Xatu. I'm going for Ice Punches. I know that it's slightly boosted from the Power Punch as well too, so should do a decent amount of damage. And I was able to bait the shield with the Power Punch, so that was definitely good. I honestly thought about shielding this, but I was like, no, it's not worth it, just because I might not be able to hit the charge move in time. So right here, I'm going to use Umbreon just to take out some damage and just farm some energy at the same time. I believe I shield this just because I want to keep the Umbreon alive, even though it can definitely survive the aerial ace. And right here, I'm going to use Last Resort on Toxicroak and then switch into my own Toxicroak. And this Drapion is going to hit me with Aqua Tail. I know I could take it, so I'm not going to bother with that. And I'm going to take the second one as well. Or I guess I decided not to, because he does have 1 shield left, and so something I was worried about is if he shields this, which he does, he potentially could take out my Toxicroak with another Aqua Tail before I can get to his second Mud Bomb. So yeah, so I would have lost right there had I didn't shield the... Well, I guess it might have been okay. But right here, I had a Mud Bomb Ray Charge, and that took out Toxicroak. Really unfortunate I didn't get the first 2 matches with the Shitty Kitty, just because they're really a lot closer than that one, too. But really well played by him. And here we go into my match with Scarlord, who beats me in this cup, and he played very, very well. So right here, he had a good matchup, Lucario versus... my Umbreon, and I decided to go Mud Bomb here. I also forgot that it was super effective against Bronzong, so that I definitely did a lot more than I anticipated. But looking back on it too, at the same time, it was good that he didn't shield that, because this means that I can't farm as much energy off of his Bronzong with my Umbreon. I'm not going to shield this just because it's either Heavy Slam or Flash Cannon, which I know my Umbreon can take. And so right here, he was able to get off a Power Punch ahead of time on my Umbreon. What I really should have done is just let that go, because I'm pretty sure I would have survived it. And this is not a great matchup for me anyway. And so, I should have just let it go just so that he wouldn't be able to farm additional energy off my Umbreon. So now he has a lot more energy farmed off of me. And I run into a little bit of lag right here. But I don't think anything too serious happened. So I just, kept playing with it, and he goes for the Shadow Ball, which is a smart decision by him, just because that would do a lot of damage if I didn't shield it. But yeah, I'm in a bad situation already, and right here he has an Umbreon. Umbreons are very hard to take out, even with fighting types, just because they're so much bulkier against fighting types than Alolan Raticate. And so yeah, I knew that even if I got to this third Power Punch in time, I don't think I would have taken out the Umbreon. But yeah, and he gets to the Foul Play first. So that was match 1. And I go into match 2 with the same lineup. And this time I have a little bit more favorable matchup against the Spiritomb. And so I decided to switch with Poliwrath right here. And so here is a big mistake I made, and really good call from Scarlord. He went for a Sludge Bomb instead of Mud Bomb. I could definitely tank a Mud Bomb and be okay, but Sludge Bomb does, as you can see, a lot more damage here. And at this point, I'm like, I need a bait out shield or something, and he doesn't even get baited out of shield too, yeah, so I'm in a tricky situation right here, and so I'm definitely playing from behind. Have to pretty much shield this just because Mud Bomb. And so right here, I'm just going to go... I can't remember if I'm farming energy. Yeah, so I decided to farm energy. I actually almost went for the Mud Bomb because I was scared he was going to hit me with one. And then right here, I go for the Mud Bomb against the Spiritomb. It's not a great matchup for Toxicroak just because the ghost moves can definitely take out Toxicroak in certain shielding situations. So right here, I am definitely in a tricky situation because he has more health on his Umbreon, and so I need to do whatever I can to like bait out shields. He does shield that one actually. Yeah, I wasn't actually going for the bait. I was just going straight for the last resort. I let the foul play go just because I had a feeling that he might have been trying to bait me for that, but also I kind of had to play as risky as I can at this point because I'm going from behind. I go for a last resort right here, and I think the switch clock is up, so I go straight in with the Toxicroak. Reason being is because I need to save my Umbreon for that Spiritomb, and he was able to actually charge up to a last resort right here. So good play by him to save that up against my Toxicroak. And right here, again, definitely an uphill battle just because, yeah, Umbreon can beat Spiritomb, but at this health disadvantage, it'd be kind of rough. I believe he said he might have had a stat boost on his Spiritomb afterward as well. I'm not really sure, but either way, really well played by him. 2-0'd me. Very great job by Scarlord. And right here, this is my last matchup against Jake Cujo. So Toxicroak against Confusion Claydol, not a great situation. But what I realized is because he has Confusion Claydol, I can switch into my Claydol with Extra Sensory, and I know that it can potentially beat it just because it could charge up the Earth Powers much faster. Not a great situation for me to be in, but I know that I could take at least one Aqua Tail, so I'm just going to take it for now and then conserve my shields a little bit. I'm going to shield this one just because I want to go for the second Earth Power. So Jake's either going to burn a second shield against this Claydol on his Drapion, or he's going to take the Earth Power damage. So he goes for the Earth Power damage, and yeah, a huge benefit of having Earth Power on Claydol is it could definitely go toe-to-toe with a lot of dark poisons now. And so right here, because I have the Extra Sensory, I knew that it can charge up much faster against his Claydol with Confusion, and I actually got a defensive debuff as well right there. And so right here, a little bit of lag, but nothing that really impacted the game too much. And so here I switch in Toxicroak against his Lucario. I shielded, and I probably shouldn't have, but I was just really nervous it was going to be a Shadow Ball, and after taking that Sludge Bomb against Scarlord in that last matchup, I was just playing it safe. And so right here, I go for the Sludge Bomb, and his Confusion hits take out my Toxicroak, and so I have a Drapion in the back, and I know that this is a pretty positive matchup as long as he could get to it Aqua Tail before he used the Earth Power. So right there, that ended up working out, and we go into match 2. I end up going with the same exact lineup, so Toxicroak, Claydol, Drapion. He opens with Claydol again, so similar situation. I just swapped right out, and then we pretty much have the same matchup going on as the last time. So this time he was actually able to get to Aqua Tail before I could get to the Earth Power. I don't even think this was CMP related, Charge Move Priority related. I think it was just that he swapped in the Drapion sooner than last time. So right here, I'm just going to keep my Claydol alive just because it has energy charged up already, and I know that I could just spam Earth Power for whatever's coming up next, and even with Claydol, it's going to do decent amount of damage. He chooses shield right there, and again, because my Extra Sensory can charge the charge moves faster than his Confusion can, I knew that I could get to a second Earth Power before he could, because he was on neutral energy. And so, yeah, so he takes me out with the Earth Power right there. Not too worried, just because Claydol did its part. And then here, again, some lag, but nothing that really caused any huge issues, so we just continue to play through that. And then right here, Drapion with Aqua Tail. Going to do some work against Claydol. I'm going to shield this for sure just because Earth Power can pretty much one-shot my Drapion at this point. And then he goes with Alolan Raichu, and I almost switched out, but I decided to stick with Drapion just because the Crunch is going to do a decent amount of damage. And so that one hit kills the Alolan Raichu, and then that was the game. So that's the tournament. Huge props again to Scarlord just because I believe this is the first tournament where he won first and went undefeated as well. He's very active on both the Atlanta Discord as well as the international PvP Discord, and so he's obviously reading up a lot on PvP, and he's grown a lot throughout the past few months, and he's definitely improved a lot. So great example of putting in the work and reaping the benefits and reaping success. So huge shout out to him. After this tournament, I actually got bumped up from Challenger to Ace ranking, which is kind of cool. Something I do want to say though is regardless of how you are ranked globally or even in your community, my personal philosophy is anyone can win, right? In these situations, if you put in some time to practice, or if you make some really great in-game decisions, you pick some right leads, you could beat anyone. Scarlord beat me, and he's definitely not ranked in the top 20, but it doesn't matter. Anyone can really win, and he won the whole thing. It is really cool that Self Arena does have these global rankings and these local leaderboards, but I would definitely, focus more on the aspect of, improving your gameplay, learning from others. Hopefully you enjoyed the recap of this tournament. I'm looking forward to Rainbow Cup in June, especially the GoFest Open Tournament. I think it'll be a lot of fun just to play people from all over the world, essentially, or at least all over the country, and probably some people flying from outside the country as well too. Thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see further content. If you have any feedback from me at all, feel free to leave it below. I am very open to any type of criticism or feedback because I think that is what makes a person grow, both as a player, as a person, and as a potential YouTuber too. I hope you all have a great day.